I looked up at him. I looked at his eyes, and he was looking at me with unconditional love. Now, that was the first time I was ever looked at with unconditional love. I mean, your parents want you to be a good boy. Your professors want you to work well. Your friends want you to love them. But he didn't want anything. And just unconditional. He was loving all that stuff. And he loved me just as I was. He loved me just as I was inside, not outside. The reading of my mind was just to soften me up. And then he could love me. And it was after that I said, I'm home. I'm home. And I meant home here. Home here. So I pray for Maharaji's grace to be that love, to be it fully. Maybe my ego will never know maybe I'll just be it. And all I can radiate is love. You can do the same too. We have to be, not do. We have to be love. Be love. Be love. I really tried to unconditionally love everything. I love everything equally. This is a plane of consciousness. It's not the ego and the soul, and the judge. I love them more than him or her. The rug doesn't deserve my love. In this plane of consciousness, this whole plane of consciousness, everything is love. I am now the Atman. I am love. I am love. I am love. You are love. This is all love. This is all love. It's all an ocean of love. But I can't convince anybody. Because convincing has yick.
I think it's more about how do we get here from here?
Yeah. So maybe all I can do, like Maharaji does, like Maharaji is, he is love. He is love. He doesn't do anything. He does not doing anything. I love you. But he is love.
With Maharaji, there was a point where someone asked him how to meditate. He said, meditate the way Christ meditated. And that took a while to sink in. And when asked about how Christ meditated, he said, he lost himself in love.
So I had been there not more than 3 days. So I thought, well, I'm all the way over here, got my guru, I should get a mantra. So I said, Maharaji, can you show me how to meditate? Figuring he'd just give me because we knew he was doing Ram, Ram, Ram. So I thought, oh, it'll be easy, you'll give me Ram, Ram, I'll go home. Because I thought we were only going to be there for a few days anyhow, that's why I wanted. So he looked at me and said, meditate like Christ. When he was crucified, he felt love, not pain. That's what he said. So I was completely in shock. It was just Krishnadas and I and Ramesh and a couple of other people. Ramdas wasn't there. And the next day, Ramdas showed up. And I told him, I asked him to meditate, how to meditate. He said, meditate like Christ. And when he's nailed to the cross, he felt love, no pain. Maybe you could talk to him, but you have a little bit more of a conversational thing with him going than I did. And you ask him, how did Christ meditate? So he said, okay. So we went back the next day, literally, Ramdas, me, Krishnadas, Ramesh, who's here, and 2 other people. And Ramdas said, you told us to meditate like Christ. How did Christ meditate? So suddenly he sat back, and he closed his eyes, and we were just waiting for what he was going to say. And then suddenly tears came from his eyes. He started crying. So we were pretty stunned. And then he, over and over and over, he kept saying, he never died. You don't understand. He never died, over and over. He said he was lost in love with every sentient being. He never died. He never died. I remember he just kept saying that over and over. We were overwhelmed in that moment with Christ. I mean, it was darshan of Christ in that moment. And yeah, he just kept saying he was lost in love.
That's the game.
That's the game.
But you don't do it. It just happens. With grace.
Know that when you learn to lose yourself, you will reach the beloved. There is no other secret to be learned, and more than this is not known to me. That was a Sufi saint from Afghanistan called Ansari of Herat. So, how do you lose yourself?
It goes ego, individual soul, Atman. And the individual soul to the Atman is a step that needs grace.
I actually think of meditation as being a kind of skills training in love or loving kindness or compassion, so that we discover both capacities within and the nature of the loving heart in ways that might not be the way that we actually just assumed. We might assume quite a bit of limitation, or we might assume a lot of conventional mediums of exchange. Even the word love is so confusing for us, generally speaking. What do we mean when we use the word love? Sometimes people do frankly mean a medium of exchange. I will love you as long as you love me in return, as long as the following 15 conditions are met. And I once used that example teaching, and someone in the room called out, only 15 conditions? So I will love you as long as however many conditions are met. I will love myself as long as I never make a mistake. So what does that mean, really? In terms of stability, in terms of support, in terms of nurturance or nourishment. It's not going to last very long. I will love myself as long as I never make a mistake. So we're really talking about something very different in terms of connection and understanding and presence and care that can be sustained through all kinds of different circumstances and changes. That's the skills training of it. And I think it's very funny because we don't tend to think of that as a skill. We think of it as a gift, that some people have it or other people don't. And if you don't, you're out of luck. But here we are, cupping our hands, doing something a little different, sometimes taking some risks with our attention, with our awareness, so that we can see more clearly what we're really capable of, or even the love that's there. People seem to associate having a loving heart with being maybe a little stupid or weak or foolish and a little gooey, like I'll let myself be hurt or abused and I'll just kind of smile, or I'll let other people be treated unjustly and I'll just kind of smile. It's a little too saccharine. But of course, in reality, love and loving kindness, compassion are like a tremendous force which can transform this world. But we don't live in a time where, generally speaking, it's seen as such. It's sort of a degradation of our understanding of the power of love. But look at Ram Dass all these years later talking about that first encounter and what it means to receive that kind of unconditional love. And just as we can open to receiving it, of course we can generate it. At least from the Buddhist point of view, we have that capacity to actually generate and be a source of that enormous quality of love and acceptance, which is a strength. It's a force. And then maybe the last thing I'll say before we sit is, just as something like love is seen as a strength, so is happiness. That instead of our own happiness being seen as kind of selfish or weird, or oh, I'm going to have a good time in Hawaii and then just sort of savor that and forget everybody else. When it's the right kind of happiness and not just endlessly seeking pleasure, it's a tremendous source of generosity and caring and compassion, because how else do we have resiliency or resourcefulness, and how else do we go on without being depleted and overcome and just feeling it's like all too much? It's because we can tap into what I call this sense of inner abundance, where we can find that place within us which has that capacity, and we can bring it forth. We can really help it come out. When we can be in touch with that, then our giving is different, our presence is different, our sharing is different, our service is different, because it's not forced and it's not going to shatter. It's not going to fray. When we don't get what we want and someone doesn't improve by tomorrow and all those things maybe don't always go our way. And so our own happiness is a radical thing. It's an extraordinary thing. I speak often about the Dalai Lama in this time. He came to New York City and spoke in Central Park. He's done it a few times, but this was the first time he'd done it. I don't know, maybe some of you were there, actually. All right. New Yorker. And a friend of mine actually organized the event in Central Park, and her desire was that all kinds of people would come and that it would just be really big because it was free, there was no registration, and there was also no knowing how many people might come. So the day before he was going to speak, it poured rain, so that was a little disconcerting. But the day he actually was going to speak, it was clear. So I got up that morning and I went to the park, and I couldn't see anything at first, but I could hear the sound of Tibetan chanting in the distance, so I just sort of followed the sound and turned a corner and came upon the meadow where he was going to speak, and there were an estimated 250,000 people there. It was the most amazing gathering. It's like everywhere the eye could land, you just see people. And we sat together in a very rare kind of silence as we waited for him to begin to speak. And when he did begin, he started with a statement I found rather extraordinary. He said, you know, from a certain point of view, I haven't had such an easy life. He said, I had to assume power, temporal power, when I was 16. I had to flee into exile in my early 20s. I've had to live in exile, trying to keep this community intact all of these years. I've had to hear daily about the terrible suffering going on inside of Tibet. He said, it hasn't been such an easy life. And then he said, but I'm pretty happy. And of course, that's what one sees in him. He seems pretty happy. And he went on to say, the reason that I'm pretty happy, even though it hasn't been such an easy life, is because of the force of compassion. He said, compassion makes me feel at one with everyone. That's why I'm pretty happy. So you think about that. Or another statement of his where he said, I've never met anyone I consider a stranger. And just the lack of defensiveness and anxiety and self-preoccupation. Because how do we generally meet people? Sometimes we hardly notice them. It's all about me, right? What do they think of me? Do they like me? How much do they like me? Do they like me more than they've ever liked anyone ever before? Oh no, I said something stupid. They hate me. Can I change this? Maybe not. Let me go meet someone else. You know, it's like we hardly even see them. And contrast that to I've never met anyone I consider a stranger. Or compassion makes me feel at one with everyone. And just the openness of that, that's a pretty happy state, right? So he said, it's the force of compassion that makes me pretty happy, even though it hasn't been such an easy life. And it was such an extraordinary statement because there we were, let's say 250,000 people, and I bet a lot of us could have said it hasn't been such an easy life. And not all that many of us might have added, but I'm pretty happy. So there we are. That's our potential. That's the possibility we have as human beings. And for me, certainly, just given how my path has been, meditation practice has been a core element of that. Let's see what we're capable of. Let's see what happens when we're more present. Let's see what happens when we change our relationship to everything that comes up in our experience. So that is our practice.
Give up your roles. Embrace your soul. Give up your role and embrace your soul. It's so easy. So easy. So easy.
Easy for you to say. As we have that moment of awakening out of our role, that begins to be it's like another state of consciousness, right?
Yes.
Of seeing.
Yes. It goes from one state to another state. A state of consciousness. The attachments to roles, like a mother is a role. Oh, my baby. Oh, that's an attachment. That's an attachment. And you've got to see those attachments. And you've got to love those attachments and love the whole business. This is because attachments to roles, clinging like that is not mother particularly, but roles. Clinging to roles is a result of anxiety. Is anxiety, and you got to get rid of the anxiety by love. A negative thought, and wow, was that a negative thought? Wow, I love you. I love you. Now, you think that's impossible, but you'd be surprised how quick the negative thought stays. Just love them out of existence, but it doesn't sound. Love them, and then they cease to exist.
So, but pushing away your, if you don't like your role, for instance, that's just clinging.
No, if you don't like your role, it's
doesn't get you out of it.
Yeah, you've got to love it to slowly edge it away. Edge it away. He is love. He doesn't love people. In that plane of consciousness, he just melds. Larry Brilliant, one of our guru brothers, is a doctor, and he came up to visit Maharaji at his wife's beckoning, and he was sitting there in front of Maharaji, and he said, I could understand Maharaji loving everybody. He's a saint. But he said, when I was sitting in front of him, I loved everybody. the radiation from the love got into Larry. The radiation on the love. And that's what, from the Atman, this soul to soul to soul to soul. That's what Guru Kripa is. The Guru grace. It's a form of bhakti yoga. You sit in front of a guru. But no, you sit with your guru inside. And your guru inside floods your world with love. Heart to heart. Heart to heart. That's why people say, I'm looking for a guru. All they got to do is look inside. Look inside. Because you have an Atman. The Atman has within it yourself, God, and Guru. Inside you.
You remember that Ram Dass said that when he wrote Miracle of Love, he was still fascinated and fixated the miracle aspect of what happened around Maharaji, because it was miracles 24/7, and one kind or another. And he felt that when he wrote Be Here Now also, so he felt that he had missed the point to some degree, and that over the years he had recognized that in fact the love was really the essence of it all. And of course, when he always told us that story back in the old days, when we first met him in 68 and 69, we were of course also very impressed by the miracles, but we got the same hit that he got from Maharaji when Maharaji said spleen about his mother being big here and dying of spleen. And at that point he fell apart. It didn't have anything to do with what Maharaji said, the content of what he said, but at that moment the stars were right, and his heart opened, and not an emotional heart, but kind of the shell around the true nature was cracked, and he experienced being home in a way that he had never experienced before. And that's what we experienced when he would tell that story and we were with him. So I said to him, you're wrong, right? You said that, but that's not true. But then this morning, and then I woke up in the night thinking, in the middle of the night I said to myself, no, wait a minute, he wasn't wrong. but he also wasn't completely right. And I wasn't wrong either. So I came up to him after he talked this morning, and I said, what he said this morning, of course, was how it had been a process of recognizing that even though his so-called ego was fascinated with the miracles, and that's what he was experiencing, what was coming through him was that love and Maharaji's presence. So both were happening at the same time, like he always talks about the two levels existing at the same time. And I remembered that this last year when I did the CD, Heart as Wide as the World, there's a bunch of English on there. And this was the first time that I really started writing some stuff in English. And it wasn't easy, because English is my native language. And what I discovered is that just like Ram Dass didn't experience the love as it was coming through him, so to speak, when I chant, when I chant, it doesn't, in some ways, it kind of circumvents my native wiring, you know? Who I think I am, my conventional Western sense of me-ness. It kind of goes around that, and then it goes through it and up and down and all through it, and it's okay. But when I tried to write something in English, I discovered I didn't have the wiring to express that love, unconditional love, in English, either for myself or for others, because it made me too vulnerable. I didn't have the wiring to do it. And you know, a couple of years ago I was in India with Siddhima, who's Maharaji's great devotee. And we were talking, I said, Ma, what is it with Westerners? What is it with us? We can't accept love, it's just what's going on with us? So she said a few things, and then one of the main things she said at that time, she said was, when you were a child, love was used and affection was used to control you, to get you to do what your parents wanted you to do. And you knew that you had to show them what they wanted to see in order to get the stuff that kept you alive and the affection that you needed. So I thought, that's interesting, yeah. And then about a week later, you know, I've talked often about Mr. and Mrs. Tiwari and the family and how close I was to this. So the oldest grandson of Mr. Tiwari was being married, and all the grandchildren, all the cousins came from all over, and for the wedding, and they came up to the temple to get the blessings of the temple and to see Ma. And all these young people were in the back of the temple, and I was there with them, and they were all sitting around, and Ma was talking to them all, and they'd known her their whole lives, and there was so much sweetness there between them, you know, between the cousins. So much sweetness. I was looking at this family, and I was starting to cry. It was so beautiful and so sweet. And she just turned to me and she said, "You see, this is what you missed by being born in America." And I thought, right on. I don't know about you, but I had a good family, not a bad family. But that kind of sweetness, we didn't have that. We didn't have that. And that sense of trusting the love. Like Tiwari and I, we used to argue. He would pick fights with me on purpose. He would just look for the buttons and then push them. And I would explode and he would love it. He'd go, "Ah, you will fire upon me now?" He wanted a party. And the thing was, we could get angry and fight and look in each other's eyes and go like, this is allowed? Wow. You can yell at somebody. You can really, really express yourself and not see, in their family, they yelled, they screamed, they loved, they did everything. And nobody was at all afraid that anybody really would ever throw them out of their heart. They might be angry, but the love was just completely understood. Not only understood, it was recognized and it was appreciated and it was expressed. But that didn't prevent them from, screaming and yelling. In fact, it allowed it to happen. Nobody screamed in my house. Don't talk to me like that. Don't look at me like that. There was, and so this has been a process. So Ram Dass and I were talking about how Maharaji's grace and how this path for us, we experiencing as a ripening process. A ripening process, and we're developing slowly. Another thing Tawari once said, he said, this path, he said, this is like loading explosives, he said. You have to do it very carefully, one thing of dynamite at a time, otherwise the whole thing goes up. Everybody, we think we want it all right away. Forget about it.
The word actually in Pali, the language of the original Buddhist text, that's usually translated as meditation, is bhavana. And bhavana literally means cultivation. So there we had the Buddha in a very agrarian society using that kind of imagery, like cultivating the ground so that wondrous things can emerge. Desired things can emerge. Beautiful things can emerge. So our work is to cultivate the ground. Rather than seeing our work as somehow acquiring and getting and having and preserving, like desperately, okay, I've got till Monday morning when I have to get on the shuttle to really love myself completely, or to forgive everybody or something like that. Rather than having that kind of energy, we more see it as cultivating the ground. That's what we're doing. So bhavana means cultivation. We're creating the conditions out of which, through the force of nature, other things can emerge. And there's another meaning of the word bhavana, or there's another way it's used, which I like a lot, which actually comes from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition more, although they also use cultivation. They have this phrase that they substitute for the word meditation, and the phrase is getting used to it, getting familiar with it, getting used to it. And I think the meaning of that is a sense that pretty well we have had moments of extraordinary connection and clarity and powerful insight, understanding, compassion, but we don't tend to be awfully used to them. It's like we have a moment and we think, what was that? Or we think, I don't think I'll tell anyone about that. Or we think, I got to get that back. I don't know how to get it back. How do I get it? But we don't tend to abide or dwell or live in our deepest understanding and our most profound experiences. So the practice of meditation is one of getting used to it. And that, I think, also changes the energy, so you don't have such a feeling of desperation, like I've got nothing, and I'm so deficient and defective, and someday maybe I'll have a moment of clarity, of connection, of love. It's not like that. It's almost like we're starting from the assumption that we've had that. But it's all too fleeting. And so our work is to learn to dwell, to abide in something we already know. And that's a real different sense of things. So that's a lot of how I see the meditation process, especially around the meditations on loving kindness and compassion and so on. It's like we're getting used to qualities that we actually do know. We know deeply and we know their nature. The Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh has this exercise where he'll do something like hold up a string bean and he'll say, now see the world, because you can. So that's really my deepest sense of loving kindness, is just that kind of knowing that our lives all have something to do with one another, that it's not really the same at all as being sentimental, or certainly nothing to do with being false or affected about things. But because of that knowing, we just relate differently. Instead of thinking, oh, you're like nothing, you don't count. Why should I care about you? You're over the line into the other category. We realize that those are just kind of constructs, that sense of self and other and us and them. It's something we make up that isn't so very true when we look. So that's why I find loving kindness a very powerful thing, because it's so much based on how things actually are. That's what gives it its strength, its power, unlike the way so many people think of it as being kind of saccharine or too sweet, too placid, makes you weak, makes you kind of foolish. Really, it's so powerful, it's so strong, it really is like a force.
He was sitting on the bed, and I was sitting on the floor, and this Indian guy there, Mr. Barman, was there. And I was just sitting there with my eyes closed for a long time, and all of a sudden he sits up, and he looks at me and he says, "Courage is a really big thing." And I go, "What's going to happen?" You know? "I don't think I'll be able to deal with it." So then Barman says to him, "Oh, but Baba, God takes care of his devotees." Maharaji shot him a look like that, and he looked back at me and he said, "Courage is a really big thing." Then he went back to sleep. And just left me sitting there with that, you know. And, you know, I had no idea what it meant. Absolutely no idea. Not a clue. I was in India for the duration at that point. I had no intention of ever doing anything except staying in India. So, but there have been times in my life, a few times, where all I had to save me was just the memory of him saying that. There was no possibility of courage. There was no possibility of action. I was completely lost, completely drowning. But I just had the barest memory of him saying that. And it was enough to keep me at least up to here, you know. And
So how would you interpret, if you want to use that word, courage? Like, what is it in that moment? What is encompassed in that moment in the word courage? I mean, you talk about fear. Is it an antidote to it in some way?
well, you know, a lot of times I talk with people and they say, well, you know, is there choice? Is there free will? Should I, you know? And I say, if you think that you have a choice to make it. And sometimes it takes a tremendous amount of courage to listen to our hearts and really do what our hearts tell us we have to do. That what's right for us. And sometimes it means changing lives around and doing things that going in a direction you never imagined before. But it takes a tremendous amount of courage to listen to that inner place, because the whole world is telling you, you know, here, come here, take some of this, buy some of this, go to this movie, take this, eat this, buy this, you know. It's all out, everything, it's all pulling us out of ourselves. And to have the courage to listen and then to act on that inner longing is something that really is very important.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna he should have courage in the fight at Kurukshetra. And Arjuna realizes that on the other side are his teachers and his family. And he says, just how can I do this? And Krishna says, stay close to me. Stay close to me.
The word courage, of course it's not, in Sanskrit and Hindi it's not the same, but our word courage is from the French for heart, cœur. It means take heart, follow your heart, listen to your deepest motivation and follow that.
You can't even do this work. You can't make those sattvic or pure efforts to bring yourself into harmony with that kind of love if you don't have grace functioning in your life already. So that's what I always say. If you think there's something to do, if you think you have a choice to make it. Don't sit around up-leveling yourself and smoking dope all the time. Just one example. Or watching TV all the time. If you think there's something to do, you have to do it. You have to follow that. You have to have the courage to follow that inner heart of what it's telling you. And not just... Maharaj used to say, a person should wear themselves out and not rust away. Should wear themselves out. And he always say, serve people, feed people. We always wanted him to tell us to sit cross-legged and do this mantra or concentrate on this, and he never would tell us that. He would say, serve people, feed people.
And that was in response to asking him how to raise Kundalini.
Yeah, we said, how do you find God? He said, serve people. So he said, oh, okay. Well, how do you raise Kundalini, you know? He said, feed people. Feed people? How does feeding people raise Kundalini? He said it does. And one time we were eating on one side of the courtyard and he was sitting on the other side and he said to Dada, I'm eating through all those mouths. Anything that overcomes and begins to overcome our feeling of being separate and something that begins to break down our armor and our fears, raises Kundalini. If you feed people, it means you care, you're giving, you're offering. And that breaks down the walls of separateness.
I think this meditation of loving awareness, the awareness of the mountains. I'm loving the mountains. I'm loving you. And the love is melding things so that it's all one. It's all one. It's all one. People and trees and grass and all of you, and it's all one. You're being it. You're being it by just looking with those kinds of eyes. That's the way. Wow. Yeah. It's it's just too much to talk about because it isn't speakable about. It's just being. And this plane of consciousness is the spiritual plane. It brings you and all closer and closer and closer. It's like a sea of love. It's just like you're dealing in a sea of love. Wow, it's just when it first happened, I was trying to not upset it because it was beautiful, beautiful. And then I realized it was going to be there because it was a quality of being, and it was sneaking up in me. That being swelled and swelled and swelled until everybody was loving and just yum, 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 yum.
Would I describe love as the glue in this interconnected universe? I probably would describe it slightly differently, more as the recognition of this interconnected universe, that it just is, and the responsiveness that is so natural. You know, the idea that what happens to someone else is like happening to our arm would mean that we respond rather than thinking, hey, you're far away, or you're the other kind, you know, I don't care about you, I don't have to pay attention to you. There's just such a natural responsiveness to seeing the truth of that movement of the heart, the recognition, the ways we speak to one another, care for one another, make sure to include one another rather than just say you don't count. When we see a connection, I think, of any kind between ourselves and others, and the sameness, the sense of sameness comes from seeing both that we all want to be happy and that we are, in truth, all so vulnerable to change, that life can just change on a dime, and that it's different, and who knows. And so we live as though we're so sure of what's going to happen tonight or tomorrow or in the next hour, and we don't know. And to realize, oh, look at that, we share that even though in any given moment someone might be up and someone else might be down, and there's the particular ways we know each other, the truth is that it's like molten, and we start filling it with fear and anxiety and self-preoccupation and bitterness and jealousy and competitiveness and all those things. It's just like layer after layer after layer. It's like a mess, and it's very full. There's not much space. But if we can sort of start releasing that, or at least an amount of that, if not everything, then woo, there's so much more space. And I think that is it's a lot more fun, and it is a kind of lightness of being, which was always so confusing to me when I was first in India and studying with Buddhist teachers, because they all seemed so happy, and mostly what they talked about was suffering, and I think, disconnect, that's very odd, because the happiness seemed very genuine, that didn't seem feigned or phony in some way, just like such brightness, and having a good time, basically. And you think, really?
People don't realize, when we talk about Maharaji, we talk about the things that happen. But most of the time, we were just sitting around hanging out with him, bathing in that love, and that was enough. We didn't want anything else. And because that was the whole thing, to be in that love. And it was so powerful to be allowed to be who you are and allowed to forget all your self-loathing and your self-judgment and your criticism of yourself, and forget about who you wanted to be and might want to be. Just to be in the moment, and be in the presence and the presence, Anything you do to try to get there with your will, it's just going to create big waves that push you back, later. You need to have just enough will to get yourself in the right place, and then relax. You can't, Maharaji said that meditation is a state that develops naturally over time. You can't will yourself into it. When you surrender, the mind stops. You stop being who you are, who you thought you were. It's not, that's real full surrender. I mean, there's a lot of little surrenders, but the quality of surrender is that you stop worrying. You can't say you surrendered and then be worrying. I mean, who's worrying? You're still here, you're still busy. So when you leave it all to him or to her or to the universe, the mind's let go at that point. So to get to that point, you have to really mean it. You have to be you have to reach a point where the only choice is surrender. The only way you're going to survive is surrender. It goes little by little, Everybody wants a big bang, And sudden enlightenment takes billions of births to develop, to prepare for. And we come here and we get a hit, and then that hit has to integrate itself through our system, through our consciousness, through our awareness, through our whole physical, mental, emotional, robotic thing, It has to work itself through there, all our reactions. It has to work through all the stuff we do habitually and soften it up. And it's just little, you can only take a little at a time, really. Because you don't want to get stuck anywhere. You don't want to get stuck in madness. You don't want to get stuck in, you want to keep moving. And because Westerners have so much self-hatred, we keep imagining that it will be someplace where we are not. Because we don't have a sense of well-being. We've lost our connection with our own well-being, so we're trying to get off all the time. When you're wide and open, everything can come and go. Highs, lows, ins, outs. No hurry. You're not going anywhere. I never felt any tension around Maharaji. He was completely at ease. Well, he said, one of the Westerners asked him something, and his response was, "I've done everything. I only leave the mind to you." But if you think about it, he's just given us the guarantee, I've done everything. Now you just clean up your thoughts. Stop thinking you're stupid, and everything will be all right.
Maharaji has affected me by loving me. And therefore, I love you. It's just a therefore. So this is a meditation you attend to a point in the heart space, in the middle of the chest, and you will say, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. You were, I am ego. And you're going to become the reality of the true self, the capital S. So you're going to start thinking about, I think this is crap. I can do without this, or that's the ego. Because see what I did when Maharaji said, I want you to love everybody, I said, I can't do it, which that meant my ego can't do it. And he just ignored it because he wanted to dance with my soul. Dance with my soul. The soul, we're going to make loving awareness. So think of yourself. Think of your I, me, I. Start with this and go down to this. Start with I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Remember to point at the middle of the chest. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. In the future, you will know yourself as loving awareness. It's, if somebody asks you, say, you're Jack, you don't say, I am loving awareness. Because but you yourself will say, when you walk down the street, when you go into the marketplace, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Now take on that identity instead of the identity you had before. You shift your identity. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. The awareness is yourself. it hasn't, it's not a thing. It is no thing. It's no objective thing. You can't point to awareness. You're aware of your eyes seeing. You're aware of your ears hearing. You're aware of your thoughts as they come out of your mind. So, this'll never work. That's a thought. And just label it as a thought. Label thoughts. Label thoughts. This loving awareness is the witness of your incarnation.
Ramdas is talking to us. I mean, the theme of our whole time together is loving awareness. We are all loving awareness. But we all know that we forget that we're loving awareness, and we forget because there are various obstacles and obscurations. We think that we're something else. We have negative emotions arising, and we're all caught up in those. For many reasons, it's not that we can cultivate awareness. Awareness it's there, but we can come into loving awareness if we allow ourselves to let go of the things that are getting in the way. And one of the ways to do that is to do various kinds of practices. And we know that different practices work for different people, and different practices work for you at different times in your life. One of the most important and most effective ways of allowing you to just let go of what's in the way is inspiration. We need to be continually reassured that, yeah, this is true. We are loving awareness. And there are some of us and all of us at times who are in that space, but we need to be continually reminded. So, being here and listening to Ramdas and just being in the presence. When we were in the presence of Maharaji, when we came home, people asked us, what did he say? What did he teach you? What happened? And as you've probably heard, at some level, not much happened at all. He didn't really say much, and he didn't tell us to do practices, although we found that we were doing them. But sometimes we would say to each other when we were there, I feel like all my cells are being rearranged. You could feel yourself changing from inside. It was not like anything I'd ever experienced. This exactly is a practice of mindfulness of the breath. And this is important because we're really going to focus on love this week. In order to be there, to really be present, to be loving, to be loving awareness, you need to allow your mind, body, heart to come into calmness, clarity, stability. This gives you the real stability to be able to then open your heart. Because if you get into that space of the heart and you don't have any grounding, you can float away. You need this integration of the two. I invite you to now either close your eyes or have a soft gaze, not looking at anything. If you're in a chair and you want to sit on the floor, please do. So, begin by taking 3 deep breaths. Just filling your whole body with breath. Breath of life, breath of awareness. Filling your whole body deeply, feeling the breath move in and move out. 3 deep breaths where you can really feel your breath. Yoga breath. Just noticing the sensations in your body as you're sitting here. You are being aware of your body from within your body. Noticing any sensations, heat, coolness, pain. Simply noticing what's going on in your body. And now bringing that attention to your breath as it moves in and out of your nostrils or at the rising and falling of your belly. Just resting your attention on your breath. Noticing the breath coming in and then leaving the body. And noticing anything about it that you can. Meditation is inquiry. It's looking into the nature of things. So notice everything about your breath. Be curious. And when your mind wanders off into a thought or an emotion or a body sensation, notice that and return to your breath without judgment. Just beginning again and again. That's the whole practice. Having no judgment about the value of your thoughts, your emotions, no judgment about how difficult it is for you to stay focused on your breath. Just noticing and returning and beginning again. In the last few minutes of this practice, see if you can stay fully aware of one full breath from the moment it enters your body, as it fills your body, until the moment it leaves your body. See if you can stay attentive of that breath from beginning to end. Just one breath.
shining in endless space. All I want is to be with you. All my prayers have been heard. All I need is to rest inside your heart as wide as the world. I looked away, your beauty too much to bear. Where could I run? Your eyes, I find them everywhere. All I want is to sing to you the song that no one has heard. All my life has led me to a heart as wide as the world. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai 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 Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai